What if I told you a 1969 Mustang showed up at drag strips in the middle of the muscle car war, and suddenly nothing felt the same again? Why did some racers say these cars didn't just compete? They overpowered the entire class structure in ways nobody expected? And how did a factory-built Mustang end up surrounded by stories of rules being rewritten just to keep things fair? This is the world of late 60s America, where horsepower meant everything and Ford was pushing limits like never before. Today, we're diving into the real story behind that Mustang and the controversy it left behind. The muscle car war era. Back in the late 1960s, America's car scene wasn't just competitive. It was a full-blown horsepower war. Ford, Chevrolet, and Chrysler were all pushing harder every single year, trying to outbuild each other on both the street and the drag strip. It wasn't just about making fast cars anymore. It was about making statements that could dominate entire racing classes. On weekends, drag strips across the country turned into battlegrounds. Factory-backed machines rolled in with serious intent, each one representing not just a driver, but an entire engineering philosophy. The NHRA stock and super stock categories became the center of it all, where small technical advantages could decide everything. Engineers worked within strict rules, but they were constantly finding ways to stretch those limits, adjusting weight, refining engine setups, and squeezing every bit of performance they could legally extract. In this era, vintage muscle cars weren't just vehicles. They were national pride on wheels. A win meant prestige for the brand, and a loss meant going back to the drawing board. And in the middle of this escalating tension, Ford was quietly preparing something that would change how people looked at the Mustang forever. The birth of the 1969 Mustang Beast. By 1969, Ford knew the Mustang had to do more than just look fast. It had to prove itself where it mattered most. On the drag strip, the muscle car wars were reaching their peak, and every competitor was bringing heavier firepower to the table. So Ford responded with machines that were built with one clear purpose: straight-line dominance. One of the most important weapons in that lineup was the 428 Cobra jet. On paper, it didn't look radically different from other big-block engines of the era. But in practice, it delivered something far more aggressive: massive low-end torque, brutal acceleration, and a personality that felt perfectly suited for quarter-mile racing. At the same time, Ford was experimenting with even more extreme engineering in the form of the Boss 429 program. This wasn't just another Mustang option. It was a tightly controlled hand-built project designed to homologate a massive engine for high-level racing competition. Each unit required special modification just to fit inside the Mustang body, turning the car into something both rare and intimidating. When these cars started showing up at drag strips, people didn't just notice them. They paid attention, because Ford wasn't playing catch-up anymore. It was pushing straight into the front of the fight. The too fast to compete problem. Once the 1969 Mustang Cobra jet cars started hitting drag strips in real numbers, things began to shift in a way nobody could ignore. These weren't rare show-up-and-win moments. They were consistent, repeatable performances that started putting pressure on the entire stock class structure. In NHRA racing, everything is supposed to balance out on paper. Engine size, factory ratings, weight classes, all of it is designed to keep competition fair. But the Cobra jet setup seemed to land in that uncomfortable space where it was perfectly legal, yet still stronger than most opponents expected. Rival teams started paying closer attention, not because anything was officially wrong, but because Ford's results kept forcing everyone else to adapt. Race after race, Mustangs equipped with the 428 Cobra jet were running times that made the rest of the field rethink their setups. There was never an official ban, but there was pressure, constant adjustments, reclassification debates, and rule refinements followed as the competition tightened. The Mustang wasn't breaking rules. It was exposing how fast those rules were aging. And while the Cobra jet was grabbing attention, another Mustang project was adding even more mystery to Ford's growing reputation: the engineering secrets behind the speed. What made these Mustangs so effective wasn't some hidden trick or illegal modification. It was how intelligently Ford worked within the rules. The 428 Cobra jet wasn't just a big engine dropped into a Mustang. It was a carefully tuned package designed for one thing: maximum acceleration over a quarter mile. Instead of chasing top-end speed, Ford focused on low-end torque and launch power. That meant the car could explode off the line in a way that immediately put pressure on anything next to it. In drag racing, that first second often decides everything, and the Cobra jet was built to own that moment. Weight reduction also played a major role. These Mustangs weren't luxury builds. They were stripped down where it mattered. Less unnecessary weight meant faster reaction, better traction, and more consistent runs. Every adjustment had a purpose. The Boss 429 program added another layer. It wasn't just about drag racing dominance. It was about proving Ford could fit a massive, advanced engine into a Mustang platform never designed for it. Together, these projects created a reputation that followed the Mustang everywhere it went, not because it cheated the system, but because it mastered it. The drag strip reality. When the Cobra Jet Mustangs started running in NHRA stock class competition, the results were consistent enough to change the atmosphere around them. They weren't unbeatable every time, but they were always in the fight. Consistency became Ford's biggest strength. The Cobra Jet delivered repeatable launches and steady quarter-mile performance, which in drag racing is often more valuable than a single record-breaking run. Chrysler's Hemi-powered cars and Chevrolet's entries were still strong competitors. But Ford had finally built something that could stand directly against them in real competition. The Boss 429, however, didn't dominate drag racing the way its legend sometimes suggests. Its impact was more tied to engineering ambition and homologation than consistent strip victories. And as these cars kept showing up, the tension wasn't about one dramatic incident. It was about a gradual shift in competitive balance. Where the mystery comes from. The strange part of this story is that there was never a single moment where everything changed. No official ban, no dramatic shutdown, no clean ending. Instead, the racing world evolved. Classes shifted, rules tightened, manufacturers adapted, and over time, memory blurred those changes into something more dramatic than it actually was. That's where the myth began to grow. Racers remembered pressure. Fans remembered dominance. And over the years, those memories turned into stories of cars being too fast or pushed out. The Mustang didn't disappear. The rules just caught up to the pace of innovation. Legacy of the banned Mustang myth. The Cobra Jet name never went away. It returned in modern Mustang drag programs, directly connecting today's performance cars to that late 60s era of competition. The Boss 429 became one of the most sought-after collector Mustangs ever built, not because of dominance, but because of rarity and engineering ambition. Over time, these cars became more than machines. They became stories passed through generations of enthusiasts, debated and reinterpreted in garages, forums, and car shows. That's how legends survive, not through perfect accuracy, but through lasting impact. Today's performance cars are faster, safer, and more refined, but they come from a very different world. The 1969 Cobra Jet and Boss 429 came from an era when rules were still forming and manufacturers were pushing limits in real time. That's why this story still matters, not because of bans or secrets, but because it captures a moment when American muscle was defined by raw ambition and constant evolution. If you want to see more legendary cars and their stories come to life, make sure you subscribe.